It's already started, hasn't it? That deadline that seemed manageable 2 weeks ago. The plan that made perfect sense until it didn't. Someone in your orbit spinning out, their panic infectious, filling the room with static. Watch what happens next. Most people shatter. Not dramatically. There's no cinematic breakdown. Just a gradual unraveling. Thoughts scatter. Breath shortens. They start making moves just to feel like they're doing something, anything, even when those moves dig the hole deeper. Temporary turbulence becomes permanent wreckage. All because they couldn't sit still inside the storm. But then there are the others. You've seen them. While voices rise and hands shake, they get quieter. Not checked out quiet, focused quiet. Like they're listening for something everyone else is too loud to hear. Their vision sharpens while others are blinking away the blur of adrenaline. They move with intention when the rest are frozen or flailing. This isn't some genetic gift. They weren't born with ice in their veins. It's a skill, built deliberately, practiced in small fires before the big ones arrive. They've trained themselves to recognize the feeling, that first spike of cortisol, the way your chest tightens, how your brain starts screaming for immediate action. And they've learned to let it pass through instead of letting it drive. There's a space between what's happening and what you do about it. Most people don't know that space exists. They go straight from stimulus to reaction, passengers in their own bodies. But you can learn to live in that gap, to breathe there, to think there. That's where decisions get made that actually matter. Not in the calm before the storm, but in the eye of it. Chaos doesn't ask permission. It just shows up. The question is, when it arrives at your door, who's going to be home? Chapter 1. Chaos doesn't break you. Your reaction does. Chaos is not your enemy. Your reaction is. That's the first truth you must accept. Chaos doesn't destroy people. Panic does. Pressure doesn't crush you. Your response to pressure does. It's not about what happens around you. It's about what happens inside you. That's the key. Every environment contains chaos. Every battlefield, every boardroom, every home. Change, uncertainty, and complexity are constants. The variable is you. Some people stay composed. Others collapse. Same situation. Different response. That's why chaos is not the problem. Reaction is the problem. The nature of chaos. Chaos is neutral. It's just energy in motion. Fast, unpredictable, uncontrollable. You can't eliminate it. You can only decide how to operate within it. You can either react emotionally or respond strategically. That's the entire game. When chaos strikes, most people panic. They freeze. They rush. They catastrophize. They let emotion override intelligence. They make decisions from fear instead of data, from impulse instead of intention, from noise instead of clarity. That's not chaos breaking them. That's chaos revealing them. Chaos is the mirror that shows you whether you're trained or untrained, disciplined or disorganized, prepared or pretending. You have a choice. You can train for chaos or be destroyed by it. The two modes of the mind. Your brain operates in two modes under pressure. Reactive mode, driven by the amygdala. Fast, emotional, primitive. It's designed for survival, not performance. It floods your body with adrenaline. It narrows your vision. It demands immediate action. Useful for running from predators. Disastrous for making high-stakes decisions. Responsive mode, driven by the prefrontal cortex. Slow, logical, strategic. It assesses. It plans. It executes deliberately. Reactive mode feels powerful but produces chaos. Responsive mode feels calm but produces control. The difference between amateurs and elites is simple. Amateurs stay reactive. Elites train to stay responsive. That's the discipline you must build, controlling the gap between chaos and your reaction to it. The science of hijack. Here's what happens physiologically when chaos hits. Your senses detect threat. Your amygdala fires before your rational brain even knows what's happening. Your body floods with cortisol. Your heart rate spikes. Your breathing shortens. Blood leaves your brain's reasoning centers and rushes to your limbs for fight or flight. That's why you can't think clearly when you're panicking. Your brain is offline. But here's the good news. The prefrontal cortex can override the amygdala if you train it. If you pause, if you breathe, if you engage logic. That's the first battle in chaos, neurological control. Until you win that, you'll keep mistaking emotional noise for rational thought. Real-world proof. In the emergency room, chaos is constant. Machines beep. People scream. Blood, movement, urgency. The untrained panic. The trained slow down. The more chaotic it gets, the calmer they become. Why? Because they've conditioned their nervous system to stay in responsive mode. Same principle in markets. When prices crash, amateurs panic sell. Professionals analyze, assess, and act with precision. The chaos is the same. The calm is different. Same in combat. Untrained soldiers freeze under fire. Special forces execute checklists. They follow protocol, not panic. Different fields. Same rule. Chaos doesn't break the elite. It reveals their preparation. Your reaction is a habit. Calm is not a gift. It's a habit. You don't become calm when chaos hits. You become what you've practiced every day. If your daily life is filled with reactivity, rushing, scrolling, complaining, multitasking, don't expect to be calm when pressure comes. You're training chaos into your nervous system. If your daily life is built on deliberate focus, measured action, controlled breath, structured execution, you're training calm into your nervous system. The moment chaos appears, your default reveals itself. You fall to your level of training, not your level of intention. That's why practice is everything. Reframe chaos as a test. Most people pray for peace and resent pressure. That's weakness. The disciplined reframe chaos as training. Every crisis is feedback. Every disruption is a drill. Every high-stress moment is a laboratory for self-control. When chaos comes, don't ask, "Why is this happening to me?" Ask, "What is this teaching me?" The question changes everything. It shifts you from victim to operator, from emotion to analysis, from reaction to command. You don't need life to be calm. You need to be calm within life. That's the key. The formula. Calm equals control. Chaos is just input. Reaction is output. Calm is control of the system between them. Here's the formula. Observation, pause, decision. You observe the chaos objectively. You pause to regulate emotion. You decide strategically. That's the cycle that keeps you in command. Every time you follow this formula, you train the muscle of control. Every time you skip it, you reinforce the habit of reaction. It's not about talent. It's about discipline. It's not about comfort. It's about control. Training in controlled chaos. If you want to stay calm in high chaos, train in low chaos. Expose yourself to pressure on purpose. Cold showers, fasting, difficult workouts, public speaking, deadlines with accountability. Each one is a simulation. Each one trains your nervous system to stay calm under stress. You're building tolerance. You're conditioning your mind to interpret pressure as familiar, not fatal. You can't learn calm during crisis. You build it before the crisis arrives. That's the difference between the trained and the panicked. Preparation. Chaos is mirror. Here's the truth most won't face. Chaos reveals your character. If you crumble under stress, you weren't strong. You were untested. If you lose control, you didn't fail. You discovered your current threshold. That's valuable data. Don't run from that reflection. Study it, because the chaos that exposed you is also the chaos that can forge you. Every chaotic moment is feedback about where you lack discipline. That's the opportunity. That's the growth. You don't need less chaos. You need stronger response. The calm command. When chaos hits again, and it will, here's your sequence. Breathe, observe, detach, respond. Say it until it's automatic. That's your command code. When chaos arrives, repeat it internally. Breathe, observe, detach, respond. Each repetition weakens the panic loop and strengthens control. You're programming composure. You don't fight chaos with emotion. You outlast it with calm. Transition. You've learned the first truth. Chaos doesn't break you. Your reaction does. You understand that calm is not passivity, it's precision. It's not weakness, it's control. And it's not luck, it's training. You've built the foundation. Now you must learn how to find that internal center, the point inside you that stays still no matter how loud life gets. That's the next step. You've understood reaction. Now you'll build resilience. Chapter 2. Build your inner still point. You can't stay calm in chaos if you don't have a center. That center is your still point. It's the unshakable core inside you that doesn't move no matter what's happening outside. Without it, you get pulled by every storm. With it, you can stand in the middle of any disaster and still see clearly. That's the key. The still point isn't natural. It's built. The law of internal anchoring. Every chaotic situation exposes the same truth. If you don't anchor internally, you'll anchor externally. And everything external moves. Markets move. People change. Plans collapse. Emotions shift. If your sense of control depends on what's outside you, you'll live permanently unstable. Most people try to fix chaos by rearranging externals. They try to control people. They try to control outcomes. They try to control timing. That's a losing game. You can't stop chaos from moving, but you can stop yourself from moving with it. That's internal anchoring. That's the still point. The still point defined. The still point is not peace. It's power. Peace is the absence of noise. Stillness is strength in the presence of noise. The still point is the place inside you that remains unmoved regardless of conditions. The calm eye inside the hurricane. It's where reaction ends and control begins. When others panic, the still point holds. When the world accelerates, the still point slows down. When pressure rises, the still point stabilizes. You can build it. You can train it. And once you have it, nothing external can truly touch you. The discipline of stillness. Stillness is not optional. It's a daily discipline. 10 to 20 minutes every day. No phone, no music, no input, just silence. Sit, breathe, observe. That's the practice. Most people will resist this. They'll say they're too busy, but their busyness is the problem. They've become addicted to motion, constant stimulation, constant distraction. They mistake movement for progress and noise for importance. But all true power begins in stillness. You can't command motion if you can't control stillness. You can't lead chaos if you can't lead your own breath. You have a choice. You can train stillness now or be broken by chaos later. That's the deal. The science of the still point. Stillness is not mystical. It's neurological. When you sit in silence and simply observe your breath, you're rewiring your nervous system. You're strengthening the prefrontal cortex, the same region that controls decision-making and emotional regulation. You're teaching your amygdala that stimulation doesn't require reaction. Each time you feel the urge to move, check your phone, or fidget, and you don't, you're training restraint. You're proving to your brain that you are in charge, not your impulses. That's how stillness builds control at the biological level. It's not about being spiritual. It's about being operational. The practice framework. You don't need complex routines. You need consistency. Here's your daily still point protocol. Step 1. Position. Sit upright. Feet flat. Spine aligned. Eyes closed or soft focus. This posture signals to your body, we are alert and in command. Step 2. Breath. Inhale slowly through your nose for 4 counts. Hold for 4. Exhale through your mouth for 4. Hold for 4. Repeat. That's box breathing, the same technique used by Special Forces operators before missions. Step 3. Observation. Watch your thoughts without engaging. Observe sensations without labeling. Notice urges without obeying. You're not trying to stop thinking. You're training to stop reacting. That's the key. Step 4. Return. When your mind wanders, and it will, bring it back. Over and over. Each return is a rep. Each rep strengthens control. Start with 5 minutes. Work up to 20. Do it daily. This is not meditation for relaxation. This is mental combat conditioning. You're rehearsing for chaos. From stillness to control. When you train stillness, something shifts. The first time chaos hits, you'll notice it. You'll still feel the rush of adrenaline. But instead of being swept away, there's a pause, a gap between the trigger and your reaction. That gap is your still point in action. It's the moment where choice appears. Do you panic, or do you stay composed? Do you lash out, or do you assess? Do you follow emotion, or execute strategy? The still point gives you that gap every time. And in that gap, you find all your power. Without it, you're a slave to chaos. With it, you're the one chaos can't touch. The transfer effect. The benefits of the still point expand everywhere. At work, deadlines compress and you stay methodical. In relationships, arguments start and you stay grounded. In emergencies, people freeze and you move deliberately. The environment doesn't change. You do. And when you do, the environment follows. Stillness is contagious. Just as panic spreads, calm spreads too. When you hold the still point, others stabilize around you. That's leadership. It's not about being louder. It's about being steadier. The calmest nervous system in the room controls the room. That's a law. Discomfort is the doorway. The path to stillness is uncomfortable. You'll resist silence. You'll get bored. Your thoughts will race. You'll feel like you're wasting time. That's the test. Stillness feels unnatural at first because your nervous system has been trained for constant stimulation. But discomfort is the signal that rewiring is happening. Every minute you stay in the silence while your mind screams to move, that's progress. You're not meditating. You're fighting your own reactivity and winning. Stillness isn't peace at first. It's resistance training for the mind. The enemy of stillness. Your biggest threat isn't chaos. It's distraction. Every notification, every scroll, every meaningless input fractures your attention. And fractured attention can't create a still point. You can't build calm while feeding distraction. You can't build focus while rewarding interruption. So here's your rule. For 1 hour a day, no input, no news, no social media, no stimulation, just silence. That's your daily laboratory for building control. It's where you forge stillness strong enough to withstand chaos. The paradox of power. When you stop chasing control, you gain it. When you stop reacting to chaos, chaos loses power. When you stop moving, the world around you starts to slow. The paradox is simple. Stillness creates speed. Because when your mind is calm, decisions are cleaner. When your body is relaxed, movements are sharper. When your emotions are steady, execution accelerates. That's why elite performers seem slow but win fast. Their still point makes every move precise. The transformation. Stillness turns you from reactor to responder, from follower to commander, from victim of chaos to architect of calm. The person you're becoming doesn't wait for peace. They bring it. everywhere they go. That's not magic. That's discipline. That's the work. You have a choice. You can keep being pulled by noise, or you can build the silence that commands it. Because once you find your still point, chaos loses its leverage. And what used to overwhelm you becomes what you operate through with precision. Transition. You've built your internal center, the still point. Now you need the bridge between stillness and action, the mechanism that turns composure into control during chaos. That bridge is the tactical pause, the moment that separates reaction from response, the space where your still point becomes strategy. Chapter 3. Master the tactical pause. Pressure hits. Something goes wrong. Someone says something that triggers you. A problem explodes without warning. That's the moment. The gap between stimulus and response. Most people have none. They react instantly, with emotion, with impulse, with panic. They speak before thinking. They act before assessing. They regret before understanding. You can't operate like that and expect precision. You can't win in chaos without control. The tool that gives you that control is the tactical pause, a trained, deliberate gap that turns reaction into response. 3 to 5 seconds that change everything. That's the key. The power in the pause. The pause looks small, but it's everything. It's the difference between shouting and leading, between wasting energy and making impact, between destroying trust and building it. You can measure someone's mastery by their pause. The more trained the mind, the longer the gap between trigger and reaction. The less trained the mind, the shorter the fuse. Your power is directly proportional to your pause. The biology behind it. When a trigger hits, your amygdala, the brain's alarm system, fires instantly. It floods your body with adrenaline and cortisol. Your heart rate spikes. Your muscles tense. Your vision narrows. Your brain is preparing for a fight that no longer exists. You're not being chased by predators anymore. You're being chased by emails, deadlines, and words. The tactical pause interrupts that primitive loop. One breath, slow, deep, intentional, activates the parasympathetic nervous system. Your body shifts from fight to control. Your prefrontal cortex comes back online. Now you can think again. That's not philosophy. That's neuroscience. You can't outthink adrenaline. You have to override it. The pause is how. The 3-step protocol. The tactical pause is simple, but you must practice it until automatic. Step 1. Physical interrupt. Stop what you're doing. Freeze movement. Interrupt your pattern physically, even if it's mid-sentence. Movement fuels momentum. Stopping resets it. Step 2. Conscious breath. Inhale through the nose for 4 counts. Hold for 4. Exhale through the mouth for 4. Hold for 4. That's 1 cycle. Do 1 or 2 cycles before you act. This is the command sequence that brings your brain back to clarity. Step 3. Assessment question. Ask yourself silently, what's the strategic response here? Or, what would Kami do right now? That single question reroutes your attention from emotion to logic. It pulls you out of story and into strategy. Now and only now act. Why it works? The pause stops emotional hijacking. It shifts you from survival mode to command mode. In those few seconds, your nervous system stabilizes and your perception expands. What felt like a crisis becomes a challenge. What looked like attack becomes data. What sounded like insult becomes noise. The situation doesn't change. Your interpretation does. And that changes everything. That's why elite operators, surgeons, negotiators, and pilots all train the pause. They don't move first. They assess first. Because precision beats speed every time. Examples in action. A leader receives bad news. Untrained. Reacts instantly, blames, yells, spreads chaos. Trained, pauses, breathes, assesses, then acts with authority. A parent hears disrespect from a teenager. Untrained, explodes. Trained, pauses, regulates tone, asks questions. Lesson delivered, relationship intact. An athlete misses a crucial shot. Untrained, slams fist, loses focus, spirals. Trained, one breath, reset, refocus, next play. Same events, different outcomes. The only variable is the pause. Training the pause. You can't expect to pause under chaos if you never practice it under calm. You must build the reflex daily. Here's how. Drill 1. Micro pauses. Throughout your day, insert 5-second pauses before every small action. Before you answer a message. Before you take a bite of food. Before you open a door. Say the command in your head, pause, breathe, act. You're teaching your brain that waiting is safe. Drill 2. Emotional pauses. The next time irritation rises, traffic, delay, rudeness, use it as training. Feel the trigger. Pause. Breathe. Observe the urge to react, but don't move. Let it pass. Each rep rewires your response system. Drill 3. Tactical simulation. Create small stress tests intentionally. Cold exposure. Tight deadlines. Hard workouts. During each, practice pausing at peak discomfort. You're teaching your mind to insert control and pressure, not collapse under it. Do this daily for 90 days. You won't need to remember the pause anymore. It will deploy automatically. The rule of command. When you pause, you communicate command. People can feel it. In meetings, arguments, negotiations, the person who pauses first owns the frame. They control tempo. They control tone. They control direction. Why? Because everyone else is chasing emotion. You're controlling energy. The pause signals power without saying a word. It says, I'm not moved by you. I'm moved when I decide. That's leadership. From pause to precision. The tactical pause isn't about hesitation. It's about calibration. You're not delaying. You're aligning. You're ensuring that what you do next is the right move, not just the fast move. It's not about being slow. It's about being accurate. In chaos, accuracy wins. Speed kills clarity. That's the difference between reaction and response. Reaction is noise. Response is signal. You have a choice, noise or signal. That's the key. Breaking the myth of constant action. Our culture glorifies instant action. Move fast. Respond immediately. Never hesitate. That's weakness disguised as urgency. Untrained people move first to escape discomfort. Trained people move last to ensure effectiveness. In elite operations, hesitation gets you killed, but so does the wrong move. The tactical pause prevents both. It's not hesitation. It's controlled precision. The untrained act because they feel something. The trained act because they decided something. That's the difference. The internal dialogue. Every reaction begins with a thought. You must master the internal voice that fuels it. When triggered, the untrained mind says, do something now. The trained mind says, wait, breathe, assess. You can literally program this script into your mind. Repeat it daily until it becomes reflex. Wait, breathe, assess. Those 3 words are the firewall between you and chaos. When a pause saves you, think of every regret you've ever had that started with a reaction. The email you shouldn't have sent. The words you shouldn't have said. The decision you made too fast. One pause could have prevented all of it. 3 seconds of control would have saved weeks of damage. That's how small the gap is between chaos and command. 3 seconds. You don't need to be perfect. You just need a pause. From practice to power. After enough repetition, something changes. You'll catch yourself mid-trigger. The surge of emotion hits, and you pause automatically. You'll feel space open up. Time slows down. Thought returns. That's the tactical pause in full effect. That's self-mastery. At that level, you don't just manage chaos. You manipulate it. Because while everyone else is reacting, you're calculating. They're burning energy. You're conserving it. They're loud. You're precise. The calm wins. Always. Transition. You've now mastered the pause, the bridge between stillness and strategy. You can observe chaos without reacting and act only when it serves your objective. But even with control, chaos will still try to deceive you. Your mind will exaggerate, distort, and catastrophize. It will turn small problems into monsters. To stay in command, you must separate truth from illusion. You must learn to see facts clearly while fear screams in your ear. Chapter 4. Separate facts from fear. When chaos hits, your mind lies to you. It creates stories. It invents disasters. It projects worst-case scenarios that feel real but aren't. That's how fear works. It disguises imagination as truth. If you don't separate fact from fear, you'll start fighting ghosts. You'll waste energy on things that haven't happened. You'll make decisions based on panic instead of proof. And you'll destroy your own stability. You have a choice. You can believe fear, or you can analyze facts. That's the key. The fear mechanism. Fear's job is survival. It's ancient, efficient, and overactive. Thousands of years ago, fear kept you alive. It made you run from predators and avoid danger. But now, your fear system can't tell the difference between a tiger in the jungle and a bad email in your inbox. It fires the same alarm. Your heart races. Your stomach tightens. Your breathing shortens. Your brain interprets this as confirmation. Something terrible is happening. That's the illusion. Your body reacts first. Your mind explains it second. And you start believing your explanation. You think it's logic. It's just chemistry. You can't stop fear from triggering, but you can stop it from taking command. Fear's favorite weapon, imagination. Fear lives in the future. It can't survive in the present because facts exist only now. So it projects forward. It asks, what if? What if I fail? What if they leave? What if this ruins everything? Every what if is a mental movie, a fictional film produced by your imagination. But your nervous system doesn't know it's fiction. It reacts as if it's happening. You feel real panic over imaginary events. You bleed energy into stories that don't exist. That's how fear wins, not by real threat, but by believable fiction. The antidote is awareness. You must learn to distinguish evidence from emotion. The fact-fear separation protocol. When chaos hits, run the protocol. 2 questions. Simple, ruthless, precise. Question 1. What do I know for certain right now? Not what I suspect. Not what I fear. Not what I've imagined. What do I know, without interpretation, to be true in this moment? Write it down if you can. Facts only. Concrete data. Observable reality. This question pulls you out of imagination and into the present. Fear fades instantly because fear can't live in the now. Question 2. What can I control right now? Not in theory. Not tomorrow. Not later. Right now. When you identify what you can control, you regain power. When you focus on what you can't, you reinforce fear. You have a choice, control or chaos. You can't hold both. That's the formula. 2 questions. Every time. Run it until automatic. Examples in action. Your business loses a client. Fear says, we're done. We're going bankrupt. Facts say, we lost 1 contract. We have 3 months of runway. We can replace this. Act from fear, you spiral. Act from facts, you stabilize. Your partner grows distant. Fear says, they don't love me anymore. Facts say, they've been quiet this week. I haven't asked what's going on. Act from fear, you attack or withdraw. Act from facts, you communicate. You make a mistake at work. Fear says, I'm getting fired. Facts say, I made 1 error. My record is strong. I can fix it. Act from fear, you hide. Act from facts, You take responsibility and recover. The facts are always smaller than the fear. Always. That's the principle. Reality is never as bad as imagination makes it. Why fear feels stronger than fact? Because fear shouts. Facts whisper. Fear creates urgency. Do something now. Escape. Fix it immediately. Facts move slow. Analyze. Verify. Decide. The human brain overweights the loud voice. But the loud voice is rarely the right one. You must train yourself to listen for the quiet signal beneath the noise. That's where truth lives. And once you recognize the pattern, fear loses its grip. You'll see it for what it is, just noise pretending to be guidance. The discipline of verification. Fear thrives in assumption. It dies under verification. Every time you feel overwhelmed, check your data. Ask, where is the proof? Has this actually happened? Who verified this information? You'll realize how much of your panic is built on secondhand stories, guesses, or interpretations. That's the mental equivalent of fighting shadows. The disciplined mind doesn't assume. It investigates. It verifies before reacting. You don't need to eliminate fear. You just need to interrogate it. Reframe. Fear as a signal, not a sentence. Fear is not your enemy. It's a signal. It points to what matters. You fear losing what you value. That's useful data. But the mistake is treating fear as a sentence, assuming that because you feel it, the outcome is already decided. It's not. It's just information that requires analysis. So when fear appears, don't obey it. Question it. Ask, what is this trying to show me? Then return to facts and move forward. The presence of fear means opportunity for courage. And courage always starts with clarity. Fear containment, the writing drill. When fear spins in your mind, get it out of your head and onto paper. This drill exposes fear's weakness. Step 1. Write every fear-based thought. Don't censor, just unload. Step 2. Next to each statement, mark F or FCT. F for fear, FCT for fact. Step 3. When done, look at the ratio. You'll see it immediately. 90% fear, 10% fact. That's the truth of your chaos. Now, cross out every line marked fear. Everything remaining is reality. That's where you operate. This is how you shrink a crisis from infinite to manageable. Commanding fear in real time. When panic starts building, heart racing, breath tightening, mind spinning, apply the reset sequence. Breathe. Label. Act. Breathe to slow the physiology. Label the fear as fear. This is fear, not fact. Act only on verified data. That's command. You're not trying to suppress fear. Suppression fails. You're reframing it. You're identifying it as background noise while you stay focused on mission-critical information. You don't defeat fear by pretending it's gone. You defeat it by refusing to follow it. The mental model of the elite. In chaos, amateurs feel. Professionals assess. Amateurs let emotion define events. Professionals let data define events. The elite don't deny fear. They just refuse to make it commander. They allow it to speak, but never to decide. That's the discipline, and it's available to anyone willing to train it. The transition from panic to precision. Every fear cycle has a tipping point. When you catch it early, when you say pause, separate facts from fear. You stop the downward spiral before it starts. You stay analytical. You conserve energy. You execute intelligently. Do that consistently, and fear loses its authority. It stops running your mind. It becomes what it always should have been, background noise in a system you control. That's power. Transition. You've learned to separate fact from fear. You've stripped away illusion and anchored yourself in reality. But chaos will still feel overwhelming when everything hits at once. To stay calm under pressure, You need to disassemble the chaos itself. Break the unmanageable into the manageable. Chapter 5. Shrink the chaos to controllable pieces. Chaos only feels overwhelming because you treat it as one massive thing. You label it everything. Everything is falling apart. Everything is going wrong. Everything is too much. But everything is a lie. Chaos is never one giant monster. It's a collection of small, separate problems stacked on top of each other. Your brain fuses them into one impossible blur. The key is to separate them, to break the storm into individual drops. Because you can't fight what you can't define. You don't defeat chaos by force. You defeat it by disassembly. The law of specificity. Your brain hates vagueness. It can't solve everything, but it can solve one thing. That's why overwhelm destroys performance. It keeps your mind locked in a loop, scanning, predicting, catastrophizing, instead of executing. Specificity restores control. When you define the exact problem, the chaos shrinks to its real size. You have a choice: stay lost in generalization or move into precision. That's the key. From overwhelm to order. Imagine this. Your business is struggling. Your relationships are tense. Your health is slipping. You feel pressure from every side. You call that chaos. But that's not chaos. That's 3 separate categories of problems. Each one solvable. Each one manageable. Each one demanding different actions. When you separate them, you can deal with them one at a time. And one at a time, everything becomes doable. The chaos disaggregation process. For steps: fast, clear, tactical. Step 1, brain dump. Write down everything that feels chaotic right now. Every problem, every pressure, every incomplete task. Empty your mind onto paper until nothing remains unspoken. This alone reduces chaos. Because the moment you externalize it, you stop being inside it. You become observer instead of participant. Step 2, categorize. Now group similar problems together. Money, health, relationships, work, logistics. Label each category. You're not solving yet. You're mapping the battlefield. You're defining the terrain. Step 3, prioritize. Ask one question. If I solve this single problem, which other problems would either disappear or become easier? That's your primary target. Solve that, and the rest will start falling into place. That's leverage. Step 4, single task. Now, focus on that one problem exclusively until it's resolved or stabilized. No multitasking, no switching, no noise, because divided attention is the fuel of chaos. Focused attention is the cure. That's the entire process. Simple, ruthless, effective. The physics of chaos reduction. Chaos obeys physics. Energy expands in every direction until it's directed. Your mind is the same. Unfocused energy spreads. Anxiety, confusion, exhaustion. Focused energy concentrates. Clarity, precision, progress. The chaos outside you mirrors the chaos inside you. Shrink the internal storm, and the external storm loses power. That's not philosophy. That's operational truth. Why most people stay stuck? They never isolate the real variable. They fix symptoms instead of sources. They answer emails instead of redesigning systems. They argue about outcomes instead of clarifying expectations. They treat everything as urgent and accomplish nothing meaningful. Busyness is chaos disguised as productivity. The untrained chase motion. The trained chase impact. You don't need to do more. You need to see clearer. Practical example: crisis at work. Your company loses a major client. Everyone panics. Emails fly. Blame spreads. You calm, apply the process. Brain dump. Lost client. Revenue gap. Team morale. Cash flow. Future pipeline. Categorize. finance, sales, team, operations. Prioritize. Which single issue, if fixed, changes everything? The revenue gap. Single task. Create a 7-day sprint to replace the lost income source. All focus there. Everything else waits. Action replaces panic. Momentum replaces noise. That's command. Practical example. Personal overwhelm. Your life feels heavy. Bills, health, relationships, clutter time. Stop. Apply the process. Brain dump. Write everything. Categorize. Money problems. Health problems. Relationship problems. Environment problems. Prioritize. Which category, if improved, reduces the most stress? Maybe it's health. Better energy improves everything else. Single task. Commit to one change, daily 30-minute walk. That's it. Win small, compound big. The moment you focus, chaos loses ground. The power of containment. Once you shrink chaos into pieces, you contain it. Containment is control. You can't control what's infinite, but you can control what's defined. Every problem inside a box is smaller than the box itself. That's your new rule. When you feel chaos rising, contain it in writing, categories, or timelines. Don't let it roam free in your head. Your mind is not a storage device. It's a processor. Offload, organize, execute. That's discipline. The myth of multitasking. Multitasking is chaos's favorite disguise. You think you're being efficient. You're just splitting your power. Each time you switch tasks, your brain burns energy refocusing. Every transition costs clarity. Every interruption leaks time. The result: shallow work, poor outcomes, mental fatigue. Single tasking is not slow. It's concentrated speed. When you give full attention to one target, you finish faster and cleaner. The untrained call it boring. The disciplined call it mastery. You have a choice: fragment or focus. Choose focus. The emotional shift. When you break chaos into parts, anxiety drops immediately. Because the unknown becomes known. Your brain finally sees edges, boundaries, and that alone restores calm. The feeling of too much transforms into this, then that. And this, then that is always manageable. That's how professionals stay calm in chaos. They don't see 100 problems. They see one next move. One move, executed with precision, solves the day. And days compound, turning disaggregation into habit. Make it a weekly ritual. Every Sunday or Monday morning, run the chaos map. Dump everything that feels scattered. Categorize and prioritize. Choose the one highest leverage problem. Build your week around that. 5 minutes of planning can save 50 hours of panic. That's real leverage. The world will still throw curveballs. But with structure, every curveball lands in a defined box. And boxes don't overwhelm you. From reaction to strategy. Shrinking chaos transforms your posture. You stop reacting to noise and start strategizing against patterns. You stop firefighting and start engineering. That's what separates operators from amateurs. Amateurs chase fires. Operators design fire breaks. Each time you define, categorize, and prioritize, you build that fire break. Chaos becomes data. Data becomes clarity. Clarity becomes action. That's the formula. The discipline of contained focus. When you shrink chaos, you force discipline on yourself. You eliminate excuses. Because when you see the real problem clearly, you can't pretend it's unmanageable anymore. That's confronting. That's where growth happens. You realize the enemy wasn't chaos. It was confusion. And confusion only exists where you refuse to define. Definition is control. Definition is peace. Definition is leadership. Transition. You've learned to disassemble chaos into parts and restore control through focus. You've turned overwhelm into order. But even the best plans collapse when panic returns. When crisis hits suddenly and the brain freezes, clarity disappears. To stay functional under pressure, you need pre-built responses, protocols that tell you exactly what to do when chaos strikes. You don't rise to the occasion. You fall to your training. Chapter 6. Pre-built protocols prevent panic. When chaos strikes, it's already too late to think. You don't rise to the occasion. You fall to your level of preparation. Panic happens when your mind searches for a response and finds nothing. It scans for a plan, finds a blank page, and shuts down. That's when people freeze, lash out, or make destructive decisions. The solution is simple. Stop improvising under pressure. Build your responses before the chaos comes. That's the power of pre-built protocols. The anatomy of panic. Panic is not weakness. It's the nervous system's default when no blueprint exists. When the unexpected happens, your amygdala fires. Your body floods with adrenaline. Your prefrontal cortex, the logic center, goes offline. Your mind screams, do something, but can't decide what. That's when chaos wins. Pre-built protocols keep the prefrontal cortex online by replacing panic with procedure. They convert confusion into clarity. They give your brain a script when the world goes blank. That's not control, that's command. Why protocols work? Protocols are not about rigidity. They're about reliability. A protocol is a decision made in calm that protects you in chaos. You remove uncertainty before the storm so you can execute during it. Firefighters don't debate where the hose is when flames erupt. Pilots don't wing it when an engine fails. Surgeons don't guess when bleeding starts. They follow checklists, pre-decided, practiced, automatic. That's why they stay calm when everyone else panics. They're not fearless. They're prepared. You can do the same. The 5 chaos categories. Every life has 5 predictable chaos zones. You may not face them all at once, but you will face them all eventually. Financial chaos, loss of income, debt, unexpected expense. Relationship chaos, conflict, betrayal, separation. Health chaos, injury, diagnosis, burnout. Career chaos, failure, firing, reputation damage. Family chaos, death, crisis, emergency. These are not random. They're recurring human events. Prepare for them once, and you'll never face them blind again. The 4-component protocol model. Each protocol must include 4 things. 1. Immediate actions, first 24 hours. The first day determines the trajectory. List exactly what to do when the chaos hits. Keep it short, specific, executable. Example: financial crisis. Pause all non-essential spending. Review cash reserves. Contact financial advisor. Health crisis. Stabilize. Contact doctor. Clear 72 hours of calendar. You're not solving yet. You're stabilizing the system. 2. People to contact. Chaos isolates you. Pre-plan who to reach out to for each scenario. Experts, allies, mentors, professionals. When emotion clouds judgment, these are your anchors. Your network is part of your protocol because isolation multiplies panic. 3. Decisions to defer. Never make major decisions inside emotional storms. Every protocol must include a do not decide list. Don't quit. Don't move. Don't sell. Don't text the ex. Your rule: no decisions for 72 hours unless safety is at risk. That one guideline alone will save years of regret. 4. Perspective reminders. Write 1 or 2 true statements to ground yourself when your mind exaggerates. Example: this is temporary. I've survived worse. Facts first, feelings later. These reminders are mental anchors. They stop you from drowning in emotion. That's your framework. For components, every chaos category. How to build your protocols. Take one day this week. Pick the 5 chaos categories. Write one page for each. It doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to exist. Ask, what's the worst-case scenario I could face here? Then answer with calm, logical steps. The act of writing it once prepares your nervous system. Even if you never open the page again, you've rehearsed it mentally. And when the storm hits, your body will remember. That's how elite performers operate, not through memory, but through muscle. Protocol in action, the health example. You wake up dizzy, heart racing. Your mind starts racing too. Fear says, something's terribly wrong. Panic says, what do I do? But you have a protocol. Immediate actions. Sit down, regulate breathing, check vitals, call doctor if persists. People to contact, physician, trusted friend, emergency contact. Decisions to defer. No self-diagnosis, no internet search, no panic texts. Perspective reminder. I'm taking data, not reacting to fear. Result, you stay operational. Same event, different outcome. That's the power of a pre-built system. Protocol in action, the financial example. You lose a client. Revenue drops overnight. Fear floods in. It's over. We're done. You open your protocol. Immediate actions. Review cash reserves. Cut non-essential expenses. Activate lead generation. People to contact. Accountant, top client, network for referrals. Decisions to defer. No emotional discounts. No desperate pivots. Perspective reminder. Cash flow is data, not identity. Result. No panic moves, no downward spiral. You execute, recover, and rebuild faster than before. That's strategy under stress. Protocol in action. The relationship example. Conflict erupts. Voices rise. Words sharpen. Without a protocol, you'll say something you can't take back. With a protocol, immediate actions, pause conversation, leave room, breathe. People to contact, mentor, therapist, journal. Decisions to defer. No breakups, no ultimatums, no texts in anger. Perspective reminder. It's not about control, it's about clarity. Now, instead of escalation, you create space. Instead of regret, you preserve connection. That's emotional control engineered in advance. The 72-hour rule. Every protocol operates under one universal rule. Stabilize first, strategize later. Never mix emotion and execution. Your goal in the first 72 hours is to stop damage and gather data, not fix everything. People in panic try to solve the entire crisis in one night. They burn energy and make irreversible errors. You trained, stabilize. You breathe. You assess. Then you act with precision. That's the difference between survival and mastery. The mental benefit. Building protocols does more than prepare you for chaos. It rewires your relationship with uncertainty. Fear thrives on ambiguity. When you eliminate the unknown, fear evaporates. You don't need certainty. You need structure. Structure gives safety. Safety gives space for strategy. That's why the most composed people aren't the most confident. They're the most prepared. Protocol maintenance. Revisit your 5 protocols every quarter. Life changes. Your contacts, resources, and capacities evolve. Update accordingly. Each review session is an act of control. You're reminding your mind, we have systems for this. The more often you review, the faster your brain recalls them in crisis. That's how elite training works. Repetition builds reflex. When chaos arrives, your hands move before your mind panics. That's mastery. The bigger truth. Most people wait for crisis to build structure. Professionals build structure to prevent crisis. You can't eliminate chaos, but you can make it predictable. And predictable chaos is manageable chaos. That's how calm becomes permanent. Not by hoping life gets easier, but by designing systems that make you stronger. You don't need to be fearless. You need to be ready. Transition. You've built your protocols, your maps for the storm. You've replaced panic with preparation. Now you can stabilize under pressure. But there's another layer of control, one that most people never master. Your physical state. Because when chaos hits, your body moves before your mind does. If your body screams, danger, your mind will follow. Control your physiology, and you control your psychology. Chapter 7. Physical state drives mental state. You can't think your way to calm. You have to breathe your way there. Because your body always moves first. When chaos hits, the nervous system reacts before logic activates. Heart rate spikes. Breath shortens. Muscles tighten. Posture collapses. Blood flow leaves the brain and floods the limbs. That's the physiology of panic. The problem isn't that response, it's staying stuck in it. If you can't control your body will control your mind. That's the rule. The disciplined person learns to reverse it. You calm the body first, and the mind follows. That's the key. The feedback loop. Your body and mind are not separate. They're a single feedback system. Every physical signal, posture, breath, heart rate, muscle tone, send a message to the brain. The brain interprets that signal and adjusts chemicals to match. When the signal is danger, you get adrenaline and cortisol. When the signal is safe, you get dopamine and serotonin. Your body tells the brain how to feel. So if you want mental stability, you start with physical regulation. That's not philosophy. That's biology. The default under chaos. Under stress, most people do the exact opposite of what helps. They stop breathing deeply. They hunch forward. They tighten their jaw and neck. They clench their fists. They speak faster. Each of those signals screams to the brain, we're under threat. So the brain amplifies the alarm. Faster heart rate, tunnel vision, emotional flooding. It's a self-reinforcing loop. Panic feeds physiology. Physiology feeds panic. You have a choice: interrupt or obey. That's the discipline. The 90-second reset. The fastest way to reclaim control is to break that loop. Use the 90-second physical reset, a simple, tactical sequence used by operators, surgeons, and athletes when tension spikes. Step 1. Posture correction. Stand or sit tall. Shoulders back. Spine straight. Chin level. Eyes forward. This position signals strength to the nervous system. Your physiology interprets posture as power. Change the shape, change the state. Step 2. Control breath. Use box breathing. Inhale for 4 counts. Hold for 4. Exhale for 4. Hold for 4. Repeat 5 cycles. This pattern triggers the parasympathetic response, your built-in calm switch. Heart rate slows. Adrenaline drops. Focus returns. Step 3. Muscle release. Starting from the feet upward, contract each major muscle group for 5 seconds, then release. Feet, legs, abdomen, shoulders, hands, jaw. Tension leaves the body the same way it entered, through attention. 90 seconds later, your body tells the brain, we're safe. And the brain obeys. That's control. The operator's standard. Every elite field uses physical protocols under stress. Fighter pilots breathe in rhythm to maintain clarity during high G turns. Surgeons control posture to reduce tremors during operations. Special forces soldiers slow their breathing before breaching doors. Professional athletes have pre-performance rituals to regulate tension. They don't rely on willpower. They rely on physiology. Your nervous system is your operating system. If you don't program it, chaos will. Build your regulation routine. You don't wait for chaos to practice regulation. You build it daily. Morning regulation. Before you touch your phone, take 3 minutes, correct posture, breathe deeply, relax shoulders. This sets your baseline. Midday reset. When stress hits, stop for 60 seconds. Check breath, posture, and muscle tension. Reset before continuing. Evening shutdown. 10 minutes before bed, stretch, breathe, and slow your heart rate. This tells your body the day is over. 3 checkpoints. Every day. Automatic training for your nervous system. Calm is not a feeling. It's a practice. The law of state transfer. Your physical state transfers to everyone around you. Walk into a room tense and frantic, and the group feels it instantly. Enter calm and upright, and people mirror it. This is how leaders control environments, through presence, not volume. A composed body radiates authority. A chaotic body leaks instability. That's why physical discipline is social power. You're not just regulating yourself, you're regulating the field. Control your state, and you control the room. The energy hierarchy. Energy flows from physiology to psychology to performance. That's the hierarchy. Get the physical wrong, and the rest collapses. You can't think strategically when your breath is shallow and your muscles are locked. You can't make clear decisions when your heart rate is spiking. You can't lead when your body is signaling fear. Before you fix the plan, fix the posture. Before you analyze the data, regulate the breath. Before you speak, slow the heart. That's the real order of operations. When the body betrays you, there will be moments when the body wants to run. Adrenaline surging, tremors starting, tunnel vision closing in. That's fine. You can still win that battle. Name what's happening. Say it in your head. This is adrenaline. This is normal. Labeling emotion reduces its grip by up to 50% in seconds. Then, apply the reset. Posture, breath, release. You're not fighting the body. You're commanding it. That's mastery. Not resistance, but redirection. The maintenance principle. The stronger and healthier your baseline body, the faster you recover from chaos. Sleep deprivation, poor nutrition, dehydration, all amplify stress response. A weak body is an unstable platform for the mind. So treat training as mental insurance. Lift, walk, stretch, sleep, hydrate. You don't train for aesthetics. You train for composure. When a storm hits, you'll perform at the level you've conditioned, not the level you've imagined. That's non-negotiable. The Calm Physiology Checklist. Use this checklist until it becomes second nature. Posture, tall, open, aligned. Breathing, slow, deep, rhythmic. Muscles, relaxed but ready. Heart rate, steady, not racing. Jaw, unclenched. Eyes, focused, not darting. Check all 6. Reset as needed. Every time you reset, you reclaim control. This is the physical foundation of mental dominance. The real discipline. People chase mindset, but mindset starts in muscle. Before you conquer your thoughts, you must conquer your body. That's why meditation, breath work, and posture training work. Not because they're mystical, but because they rewire the body-mind loop. The difference between panic and power is posture and breath. That's the discipline. And the choice is always available. You can act from tension, or you can act from control. That choice decides the outcome. Transition. You've learned to use your body as the control panel for your mind. You've built a system that turns panic into precision. But chaos is rarely faced alone. When the storm hits, groups form. And in every group, one person always takes command. Not because they're appointed, because they're calm. Next, you'll learn how composure becomes leadership. How your inner calm shapes outer influence. Chapter 8. The calm person becomes the leader. When chaos hits, people don't look for the loudest voice. They look for the calmest presence. In crisis, authority transfers instantly to whoever maintains composure. Not the smartest, not the most experienced, the calmest, because calm equals control, and control equals safety. That's how leadership is earned, not by title, but by state. The biology of leadership. Humans are wired to follow stability. It's ancient survival programming. When danger appeared, tribes looked for whoever stayed centered while others panicked. That person became the anchor, the emotional stabilizer of the group. Thousands of years later, the instinct is the same. In a boardroom, on a battlefield, in a family argument, the calm person becomes the center of gravity. Everyone else orbits them. You don't ask for this role. You attract it. Emotional contagion. Calm spreads. So does chaos. Your nervous system constantly reads others through mirror neurons. When someone panics, your body mimics their state. Heart rate increases, muscles tighten, breathing accelerates. When someone stays grounded, your body mirrors that too. Breath slows, tension drops, clarity returns. That's emotional contagion, and it's unavoidable. You're either spreading calm or spreading chaos. There's no neutral. That's the key. The power of pace and tone. In chaos, pace equals power. When everyone speeds up, the calm leader slows down. They speak slower, move slower, breathe slower. This creates psychological gravity. People feel pulled toward that stability. It's not charisma. It's neurology. A slow, steady tone communicates confidence to the group's collective nervous system. It says, I know what's happening. We're okay. Even if you don't have all the answers yet, your composure keeps the group functional long enough to find them. That's leadership under pressure. Command presence. Command presence isn't volume or aggression. It's coherence. Every part of you aligned under stress. Your eyes are steady. Your breathing is even. Your body language is open, not defensive. Your tone is deliberate. Your words are few and precise. People feel that before they understand it. You don't have to announce leadership. They feel it. They follow automatically. The calm control loop. Here's the loop. The calmer you are, the more control you project. The more control you project, the calmer others become. The calmer others become, the easier it is for you to maintain calm. That's the self-reinforcing cycle of real leadership. But it begins with you. If you lose control internally, the loop reverses, your tension amplifies theirs amplifies yours, and the whole system collapses. So you choose, stabilize or spiral, lead or leak. That's the responsibility of composure. Case study, the crisis meeting. The meeting begins. Bad news hits. Numbers down. Tension rises. Everyone starts talking faster, louder, over each other. Then one person, you, speaks slowly, clearly, decisively. Let's define the real issue. One at a time. The energy shifts. People breathe again. Order returns. You didn't need a title. You needed calm. That's how control starts, with one person regulating themselves when everyone else can't. Case study, the family emergency. The call comes late at night. Accident. Hospital. Everyone's panicking. While others yell, you breathe. You ask direct questions. Where? When? Who's there? What's needed? You coordinate rides. You collect facts. You make decisions. You become the anchor. No one appointed you. Chaos did. Because in every storm, leadership defaults to the calmest person available. That's not luck. That's preparation. Authority without emotion. Authority built on emotion is fragile. Authority built on composure is unbreakable. When you stay calm, you communicate power without saying a word. Your steadiness tells people, we're safe following this person. That's influence without demand. Control without force. Respect without pleading. Calm is quiet dominance. It's the kind that lasts. How to train calm leadership. You don't wait for crisis to test this. You build it daily. Step 1. Control your volume. Speak quietly even when irritated. The quieter you get, the more people listen. Step 2. Control your tempo. Deliberate pace equals deliberate thought. When you slow your speech, your brain synchronizes with clarity. Step 3. Control your space. Maintain posture, eye contact, and breathing rhythm. Command presence begins with physical discipline. Step 4. Control your words. In chaos, every word is weight. Say less, mean more. Step 5. Control your energy. Bring calm energy into every interaction. Even simple conversations are training for crisis communication. Every moment is practice for leadership. Why calm outranks talent? You can have brilliant ideas, but if you lose composure, no one hears them. You can have deep knowledge, but if you panic, no one trusts you. Calm people win because calm creates trust. Trust creates influence. Influence creates results. That's the hierarchy of real power. The composure audit. Run this audit weekly. Did I regulate myself in every conflict? Did I slow down when pressure increased? Did my presence stabilize or amplify others? Did I project control through tone, posture, and pace? Did I make decisions from clarity or from emotion? If you answer honestly, you'll know your leadership level immediately. No titles required. From composure to command. Calm isn't just survival. It's strategy. When everyone else reacts, you observe. When everyone else speaks, you listen. When everyone else moves, you wait. Patience positions you, and position wins wars. That's how calm turns into command. Not through words, but through timing. Calm leaders don't fight for attention. They control direction, because everyone moves in response to them. That's real power. The legacy of calm. People remember how you made them feel under pressure. Not what you said, not what you did. They remember whether you made the chaos smaller or bigger. If your calm stabilized them, you become unforgettable. If your panic infected them, you become irrelevant. That's your choice. That's your legacy. Calm leadership outlasts chaos. Always. Transition. You've learned how composure creates authority, how calm becomes gravity, how leadership is earned by nervous system control, not by rank or title. But chaos doesn't end with the moment. It leaves residue, lessons, patterns, data. Most people move on and forget. Professionals don't. They debrief, analyze, and adapt. That's how you turn chaos into a training program for the next storm. Chapter 9. Post-chaos analysis builds future calm. Most people survive chaos once and hope it never happens again. Professionals do the opposite. They study it, because every storm is a classroom if you analyze it. That's the difference between people who repeat chaos and people who master it. One reacts, the other learns. You have a choice. Ignore the lesson or extract it. That's the key. Why debriefing matters. After chaos, your brain wants relief, not reflection. You crave distraction, rest, escape. But if you don't review the event, the same chaos will find you again, only bigger. Debriefing converts pain into preparation. It turns memory into mastery. Without it, you get older but not wiser. Every elite field knows this. Soldiers run after-action reviews. Pilots complete post-flight reports. Surgeons conduct morbidity and mortality meetings. Because they understand, mistakes unexamined are mistakes repeated. The same principle applies to your life. The 48-hour rule. Analysis loses power with delay. After 48 hours, memory distorts and emotion edits the truth. Review fast while details are still sharp. You don't need perfection. You need accuracy. Facts over feelings. Within 2 days of any major chaos event, argument, loss, failure, crisis, sit down and run the process. It takes 30 minutes. It saves years. The 6-question framework. Every debrief uses 6 questions. Write them. Answer them. Review them later. 1. What actually happened? No interpretation. No story. Just data. Timeline. Facts. Sequence. Write it like a police report. 2. What I do well? Identify what worked. Preserve effective behaviors. These are your strengths under stress, your baseline competence. 3. What did I do poorly? Be ruthless but factual. Where did composure break? Where did emotion lead decisions? Name it, because what you name, you can change. 4. What could I have anticipated? Every chaos has warning signs. Most people ignore them until too late. Identify the signals you missed, tone shifts, data patterns, physical symptoms, emotional cues. Next time, those signals become alarms. 5. What protocol would have helped? Ask which pre-built system could have prevented panic. If none existed, build one now. That's how your playbook grows. 6. What capacity do I need to build? Every failure exposes a weakness, skill, resource, mindset, or relationship gap. List it, then train it. Answer all 6. You've just transformed chaos into curriculum. Example, the business failure. Your project collapses. You lose money. Team fractures. You run the debrief. What happened? Missed deadlines, poor communication, client pulled out. What went well? Early momentum, solid creative output, fast pivot attempts. What went poorly? No crisis plan, emotional meetings, unclear accountability. What could I have anticipated? Declining engagement metrics, warning signs ignored. What protocol would have helped? Pre-mortem analysis before launch, escalation checklist. What capacity to build? Leadership communication under pressure, team debrief training. Now you have clarity. The failure becomes architecture for the next success. That's how professionals evolve. Example, the personal conflict. You said something you regret. The argument spiraled. Connection damaged. You debrief. What happened? Misunderstanding escalated through tone and defensiveness. What went well? Recognized overreaction later. Apologized quickly. What went poorly? Interrupting emotional escalation. What could I have anticipated? Tension from exhaustion. Sensitive topic ignored too long. What protocol would have helped? Tactical pause. Pre-agreed cool-off rule. What capacity to build? Emotional regulation under personal criticism. Now, the conflict becomes training. Next time, you won't repeat it. That's mastery, converting regret into rehearsal. The discipline of objectivity. During analysis, emotion will try to rewrite history. It will defend ego, justify mistakes, and blame others. Reject that. Objectivity is discipline. Detach like an investigator, not a victim. You're not judging, you're diagnosing. Facts don't care how you feel. That's why they're valuable. The calm mind seeks truth, not comfort. That's the mindset that builds resilience. Turn debriefs into systems. A single review creates insight. A consistent review creates evolution. After every major event, store your debriefs in one document, your chaos log. Label each with date, event, key lessons, protocol updates, and capacity targets. Every 3 months, reread the log. You'll see patterns, recurring triggers, repeated strengths, progress, and composure. You'll literally watch yourself getting calmer over time. That's the compound effect of reflection. Upgrade your protocols. Each debrief reveals missing systems. Use that data to refine your pre-built protocols. If panic came from financial confusion, add a cash flow map. If conflict came from unclear roles, add a communication rule. If fear came from lack of knowledge, add an education plan. Your playbook should evolve after every storm. That's how professionals stay ahead of chaos. They don't just survive, they upgrade. Extract the emotional data. Debriefing isn't emotionless. It's emotion-informed. Ask, what emotion dominated me during the chaos? Fear? Anger? Shame? Guilt? Then ask, what belief fed that emotion? Maybe it was, I can't fail, or they have to like me, or I'm not ready. That belief is the real vulnerability. Replace it with something stronger. Fear, I can't fail. Failure is feedback. Anger, they disrespected me. Respect is earned through composure. Shame, I embarrass myself. I'm improving publicly. That's how emotional chaos becomes mental clarity. The three-tier reflection cycle. Immediate reflection within 48 hours. Run the 6 questions. Capture raw data. Midterm review after 1 month. Revisit notes once emotion fades. See what you missed. Add new insights. Long-term integration every 6 months. Summarize the most powerful patterns. Update your philosophy, your systems, your identity. By repeating this cycle, you transform chaos from threat into curriculum. That's the long game. The compound effect of awareness. Each debrief increases awareness. Each awareness reduces future reaction time. Your first major crisis might destroy you for months. The next one lasts weeks, then days, eventually minutes. Why? Because analysis shortens the emotional recovery curve. What took months to process now takes moments to correct. That's not luck. That's accumulated awareness. From chaos to immunity. By the 5th or 6th cycle, something changes. You stop fearing chaos. You start predicting it. You know your patterns. You know your triggers. You know your recovery methods. You become chaos immune, not because chaos stops happening, but because it stops destabilizing you. That's real control. The person who learns from chaos faster than others outpaces them permanently. Same world, different operating system. Transition. You've learned how to extract data from disaster. You've turned pain into process, reaction into reflection, experience into evolution. Now you understand what most never do. Calm isn't something you maintain. It's something you build, layer by layer, through every storm you survive and study. And when you've built enough layers, chaos stops being the enemy. It becomes the catalyst. That's the next level. Chapter 10. From calm within chaos to chaos as fuel. The goal was never to eliminate chaos. The goal was to master your response to it. Now you go one step further. You use it. Because once calm becomes your default, chaos becomes your advantage. When others panic, you perform. When others freeze, you move. When others collapse, you rise. This is the final transformation, turning chaos into energy. Not avoiding storms, but absorbing them. Not resisting pressure, but converting it into performance. That's mastery. Chaos is catalyst. At first, chaos was threat. Then it became test. Now it's catalyst. You've trained your nervous system to interpret intensity differently. The same signals that once triggered panic now trigger focus. Your body feels the surge, but your mind stays clear. Adrenaline no longer equals anxiety. It equals alertness. That's the rewiring you've built through stillness, tactical pauses, and physical control. You've changed the meaning of pressure. It no longer says danger. It says opportunity. That shift is everything. The biology of flow. What you've built is what science calls flow state. It's not mysticism. It's neurochemistry. In chaos, your brain floods with norepinephrine, dopamine, and endorphins. For most people, that cocktail creates panic. For trained people, it creates precision. They move faster without rushing. They think clearer without overthinking. They execute harder without forcing. That's not superhuman. That's trained calm operating at maximum intensity. You no longer fear the surge. You harness it. Pressure as precision. Pressure doesn't distort you anymore. It sharpens you. When stakes rise, most people lose coordination. Their speech speeds up. Their focus narrows to panic. Their decision quality drops. Yours improves because your systems are rehearsed. Your protocols are built. Your body is steady. You don't collapse under load. You align under it. That's what happens when calm becomes structure, not mood. The paradox of calm aggression. Calm and aggression are not opposites. They're allies. The most dangerous fighter is the calm one. The most effective negotiator is the calm one. The most strategic leader is the calm one. Because calm doesn't mean passive. It means precise. You've built a weapon, composure sharpened into control. Now you can direct that energy where it matters. You strike only when the strike counts. You move only when movement matters. That's disciplined aggression. That's calm turned kinetic. Training through voluntary chaos. To maintain this edge, you must keep training under controlled storms. Voluntary chaos builds capacity for involuntary chaos. This means intentionally seeking environments that stretch your tolerance. Cold exposure, high-intensity workouts, public speaking, difficult conversations, business uncertainty. Each one is a simulation. Each one reinforces your internal command center. You don't practice calm in silence. You practice calm in noise. You build stillness in motion. That's how you keep your edge when real storms arrive. Chaos as the ultimate feedback loop. Chaos is the truth serum of character. It exposes every weakness instantly. Your ego, your insecurities, your untrained emotions, your lack of preparation. That's not failure. That's feedback. When chaos exposes something, you fix it. When it repeats, you refine it. When it disappears, you've mastered it. That's how evolution actually works. Exposure, analysis, adaptation. The faster you repeat that loop, the faster you grow. So stop avoiding exposure. Invite it. You can't strengthen what you refuse to face. The calm advantage. In a world addicted to speed and noise, calm is rare. And rarity is leverage. People trust the calm voice when others shout. They follow the calm presence when others scatter. They invest in the calm mind when others gamble. That's the unfair advantage. You don't have to compete with chaos. You outlast it. Because while others burn out in bursts of panic, you operate in sustained focus. That's endurance. And endurance always beats intensity. How to convert chaos into power. Every time chaos appears, you run the conversion process. Step 1. Observe the surge. Recognize the adrenaline spike, the racing heart, the tension. Label it. Don't resist it. Step 2. Control the body. Breathe deep, slow, and steady. Posture upright. Signal safety. Step 3. Control the frame. Say it internally. This is energy. I decide how to use it. Reframe threat as fuel. Step 4. Execute the plan. Follow the protocol you built. Tactical pause. Fact check. Prioritized action. Let calm direct chaos. Step 5. Debrief afterward. Extract data. Refine again. Repeat this loop until it's automatic. Then chaos becomes power. That's the formula. The identity shift. This process changes who you are. Not just how you act. Who you are. You're no longer someone trying to stay calm. You are someone who is calm. It's identity now. It's not, I practice composure. It's, I am composure. That shift changes every domain. Work, relationships, health, wealth. Because identity drives behavior. And once calm becomes identity, chaos can't touch it. That's unshakable. Chaos as purpose. Eventually, you stop chasing peace by avoiding chaos. You start finding peace through chaos. Because you realize the challenge is the point. Growth lives inside pressure. Power is built through disruption. Every crisis becomes a mirror. How strong have I become? How calm can I stay? Every storm becomes a test. Have I earned this peace or just pretended to have it? You stop resenting adversity. You start respecting it. Because chaos is no longer punishment, it's permission. Permission to prove your training. Permission to execute under fire. Permission to rise again stronger. That's the deeper purpose. The long game. This mastery compounds. 6 months of training gives you control. A year gives you stability. A decade gives you dominance. Because calm under chaos isn't just emotional strength, it's strategic longevity. While others fluctuate with conditions, you remain constant. That constancy builds trust, wealth, health, and legacy. You're not chasing short-term peace anymore. You're building lifelong power. The final standard. The new standard is simple. When chaos hits, you get calmer. When pressure rises, your heart rate drops. When others lose control, you gain it. That's not natural. That's earned. Through repetition, through training, through deliberate practice of every principle in this book. You built your still point. You mastered the tactical pause. You separated facts from fear. You broke chaos into controllable pieces. You built pre-chaos protocols. You regulated body to control mind. You turned composure into leadership. You analyzed every storm for data. And now, you've turned chaos itself into fuel. That's full circle. The closing command. Chaos will never stop, but neither will you. You've learned to meet it with stillness, to answer it with structure, to absorb it, use it, and rise from it. From now on, when the storm hits, you don't flinch. You breathe. You assess. You act. Because chaos doesn't define you anymore. You define it. That's the calm within chaos. That's the unbreakable mind. That's mastery. You see it now, don't you? Chaos never breaks you on its own. It's what you do with it, how you meet it, how you breathe through it, that determines whether you come out whole or in pieces. Start somewhere stupidly simple. Sit for 10 minutes. Just sit, not meditating, not fixing yourself, just watching what your mind does when you stop feeding it distractions. Thoughts will come like uninvited guests. Let them. Don't fight. Don't follow. Just notice. This builds something invisible but essential, a place inside you that doesn't move when everything else does. Then there's the pause. 3 seconds, maybe 5, between the moment something hits you and the moment you react. Most people don't know this space exists. They're already yelling, clicking send, slamming doors. But in that sliver of time, that's where you get to choose. That's where your power actually lives. Learn to separate what's real from what's just your nervous system lying to you. Fear will dress up as fact every single time. It'll tell you everything's collapsing when maybe one thing went wrong. Only respond to what's actually there. Break the monster down. Chaos feels huge because it's shapeless. Name the pieces. Write them down. Suddenly you're not fighting some undefined nightmare. You're handling 3 specific problems. Different game entirely. Before the fire starts, know what you'll do when it does. Not some elaborate fantasy plan, just basic moves. If this happens, I do that. When you're in the middle of it, you won't have bandwidth to invent. You'll only have bandwidth to execute. Your body runs the show more than you think. Heart racing, mind follows. Breath shallow, thoughts scatter. Settle your physiology first. Everything else becomes possible. Here's what nobody mentions. When everything goes sideways, people look around for someone who isn't losing it. They don't decide consciously. They just gravitate. Stay composed, and suddenly you're leading without asking for permission. After every storm, sit with it. What happened? What worked? What didn't? Each round of chaos makes you more fireproof if you actually extract the lesson. Eventually, pressure stops feeling like a threat. It becomes fuel. You don't just survive it, you come alive in it. Because you've been there before. Because you've trained for this exact feeling. 10 minutes of silence today. One pause before you react to something small. One protocol written down for when things go wrong. Not someday. Today. Then again tomorrow. Chaos doesn't schedule appointments. It just shows up. Be ready.